Okay, let's call this meeting to order. If everybody wouldn't mind standing for the pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a roll call?
Yes. Mr. Morrow?
Here.
Ms. Drumheller?
Here.
Ms. Webster?
Here.
Mr. Renzi?
Here.
Mr. Denise?
Here.
And Ms. White?
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. She's in the ether. Here. Do we have any announcements or agenda modifications for anybody? No? No. All right. All right, so have y'all reviewed the minutes of the last meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody. All right. Public input? Next. Nobody's here. Unfinished business. Mr. Benton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I typically do during this portion of the meeting, I'll give you an update on where we're at for our current projects that are either completed within the previous month or we're currently giving an update that's going to be happening in the future months. So the first one is we had a long discussion, obviously, about Filbert Street Park at previous meeting. One of the things that came out of that was to install a fence around the parking area. So staff was able to complete that fence. The installation was complete around April 19th. The cost, we did not have to use any of the park improvement money. I'm trying to go off my memory, but I want to say it was somewhere around the ballpark of $2,000, give or take a little bit. So we had that in our R&M fencing. So we were able to do that project underneath that. And no park improvement money was taken out of the allocation that you all had given us. I will also want to notice that Mr. and Ms. Simpson, so Ms. Simpson was here at most of those meetings. She lives on the park perimeter, and she had offered to stain the existing fence and the parking lot fence. So Mr. and Ms. Simpson reached out to us. Staff was involved with them in purchasing the product, and they did stain the front fence along the park. And then we were just letting the wood on the new fencing and around the parking lot age a little bit. And when they get back in town in the next few weeks, they're going to go back out and finish staining the parking lot fence. So that entire fence there will receive a fresh coat of stain, and it looks much better. They tried to match the posts that were installed with our signage that was there, the new signage that we reinstalled the last 2 years. So they tried to match that with the stain color. So just a big thanks to them for volunteering their time to do that for the city, and it was a much needed improvement to the park.
Isn't that the type of person that might get our award?
Correct. Yes.
So,
Great suggestion.
what was
there.
their names again? Simmons?
Mr. and Miss Simpson.
Simpson.
Kathy Simpson was her name, and
Thank you.
Schuman Drive Park, we recently installed a new touchless water fountain at that park. So that was installed sometime in late April. We got that installation complete, so now that park has a water fountain. It did not have a water fountain for many years, I know, since I've been here. But we did get one of the touchless water fountains installed there. Park staff also installed a wooden fence to close off park access from the parking area at Hardy Park in late April. That was a project that we had developed. We had kind of assessed the need that people were parking in the far western portion of the park under the trees, and we needed to try to preserve those areas and around those trees with the roots and everything. So we installed a fence on the northern end of the parking lot to prevent that from happening. George Street ADA sidewalk was installed on May 8th. So that formally completes that playground project. One of the things that we had discussed in using our park improvement funds money from this committee was to install an ADA parking space where we possibly could, and install ADA accessibility as far as sidewalk access to our playgrounds. So George Street was a little bit of an interesting one. As far as the parking spot, we weren't able to install a parking spot there. just due to the swell, and then it comes back up, to the park. There was no safe way to install a parking spot. But we were able to extend the sidewalk and run the sidewalk all the way up to the playground and install an area for a bench on one side and a trash can on the other, to improve that area. And thanks to our roads department helped a lot with the concrete work for that project. So they came through with that. Football goalpost was, an item for replacement on the game field that they use at Barber Street Sports Complex. It was in our CIP for this year. Those, the goalposts have been ordered, they have shipped. They should arrive here sometime within the next week or 2 weeks. And then staff will make it a priority to get those installed before the tackle football season starts in early July. Easy Street Playground is still on track for a mid-July installation timeline. Nothing has changed on that, so we are expecting that one to continue to go forward with that timeline. Filbert Street Playground is currently on track for sometime around mid-August. That one's a little bit further delayed just due to the manufacturer with that playground system. Today, I met on site with and did site inspection with FEMA along the riverfront area today. That's one of the steps that we have to continue to take through this process of getting some shoreline stabilization put back in, specifically areas, Main Street, the area we're looking to do the bench swing park area. Unfortunately, we can't go forward with that project until we can stabilize the shoreline there and reinstall some sod so that swing and bench area can go further, closer to the shoreline. So that was one area we talked about today. We also went down to Riverview Park to the Twin Piers area. They looked at the finger docks that are damaged, and so hopefully moving forward on that. The electrical that was damaged due to being underwater, that was looked at. We've got a couple areas and one pavilion specifically and a couple sidewalk areas there at the Twin Piers that were undermined due to the erosion. So that area was looked at. Trying to think. I think that was it for the site inspections down there. But just continuing an update on the FEMA stuff. So we got approval to move forward with the irrigation repairs. Antoine and staff were out there today installing the new irrigation pump cover, and starting to run some new irrigation valves and a couple other things that we have to do down there for that project. That's all covered underneath FEMA. Also, the Yacht Club North Dock repair. I was in touch with our contractor late last week. They're trying to get there to Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, so tomorrow or Wednesday, to get started on that repair work to try to get that Yacht Club North Dock back open to the public as soon as possible. And my last project update is working with our MIS department. We have MIS and Public Facilities Department. We've been able to install 6 new cameras within parks. One of the things that we're looking at doing is one of them, I don't want to go into too many details of the locations of the cameras because we're utilizing them for security and safety currently. But one of the cameras that we did install is at the Yacht Club, and it has a view of the boat ramp. And one of the things that I've spoken with MIS, and one of our priorities going forward is to look at getting that camera online on our website so that people can look at it and see kind of the conditions at the boat ramp. If you think it's, nice and calm at your house, but you want to make sure whether it's windy or what the conditions are at the boat ramp, people will be able to watch that. So that'll be one of our initiatives as we go through the next few months to work with our MIS department to get that camera online so that it can be viewed by the public. And that's it for the updates.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
I have a question, of course. This is Joanne. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Brian, on Filbert Street Park, I'm trying to remember, did we put fencing up on the other side of the park where the trees and things are? Wasn't that part of something we were going to work on to keep the cars out also?
So, Madam Chair, if I may. So what we did was we extended the fence line to the north where we knew there was some vehicular access on the north side. On the south side, it's someone's house, so it's their yard. We don't have concerns really with vehicles coming in from the south side. So, but we did address the north side, and then specifically, once you get inside the park, we developed a perimeter that vehicles can't get past our parking lot area.
Okay. Next, on the football goalposts, so we're replacing those, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that come out of Parks and Rec, or does it come out of something else? And what's the cost about? Do you know?
So I know we had budgeted, I think it was $10,000 we had budgeted for that project. I believe the total cost was in the $7,000, maybe $8,000 range, so we were under budget with that project. No, I take that back. It was around $6,000. It's anticipated to be close to $8,000 with the concrete. So we will be under budget by a couple thousand with that. I don't have the budget in front of me. I don't remember the funding mechanism for that, whether it came out of rec impact, because it is a park improvement, or if it came out of general fund. But I can get that answer and get it to you all via
Okay.
email.
All right. And the FEMA one, the irrigation that's going in, where is that going that you guys are working on?
So we already had irrigation at the Twin Piers area. And what happened was when the surge came up, it inundated our pump and our valve boxes and caused some issues there. And also the pump house cover. So we had to replace all of those parts, in order to get our irrigation back functioning for the Twin Piers grass area.
So most of those projects that you listed, we were waiting for FEMA to come through and give the okay. Is that why it's been taking a while? Because we wanted them to say yes or no for funding?
That's correct. So we have to follow their protocols. So we've been meeting with them and we've changed our representative from FEMA. This is our second one now. And they give a little bit of different direction. And this one requested that we have a site inspection before we move forward on some of these projects, which a couple of them we had already moved forward. The irrigation, we had already basically moved forward underneath our other FEMA rep. And the yacht club dock was also one we had already moved forward with. So those two, we did not need site inspections, but the ones that we had not moved forward, we had to get a site inspection. That was completed today. Once we get their report back, hopefully by the end of this week, then we'll be able to move forward on those.
Was there anything that they did not approve that we asked them to?
So it's always hard to say with FEMA. So we don't get a formal yes or no, or a move forward from them. It's basically just general direction that, hey, this could potentially qualify for funding. And then once that happens, then we go forward, complete the project, and then we submit to them for reimbursement of our costs. So we're never formally given, yes, go forward and we're going to pay 100%. It's always kind of a little bit up in the air, but typically as long as we meet their metrics and meet their standards along the way, we will get the full funding that we're eligible for. And most of these are 100%, and we've gone after a few mitigation efforts that will hopefully give us a few extra dollars to do some mitigation on a couple of these areas.
Now, when they pay for as part of that, it takes a while, doesn't it, for it to come back to us and to our monies?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again?
Well, when FEMA does pay for, reimburse or pay for those, doesn't it take a while for that money to come back to Sebastian or come back into our, our pot of what we're spending on?
Yes, it does. I know that we've still, just recently, within the last few months, collected on a previous hurricane. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it had to have been 3, 4, 5 years ago. So yeah, the funding does come in. I don't know what all those steps are, why it takes so long on certain ones, and some will get quickly. But it doesn't come out of rec impact fees for these repair and maintenance on these, because it is repair and maintenance, it's not park improvements.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's it.
camera at, Main Street?
So I don't really want to go into details. I'm giving a little bit of details on the yacht club just because it's an open camera. At the current time, I don't want to go into too many details on the other locations that we have them. So I apologize for that.
That makes sense. All right, so let's go on to committee member park updates. Why don't we start down with Mr. Renzi?
Park updates. Well, I want to commend Brian on putting all those benches in Riverview Park. Great idea. They're being used. And thank you for that. That's all.
That's it? Mr. Denise?
I'd like to thank our Chamber of Commerce for Riverview Park. I don't know how many people went to that event, but so proud to live in this city where that park gets so much use. And they sat there and gave away, I don't know how many free gifts that there was probably around 50 of them. You just kept going. Anybody has this number. Anybody has this number. But to see the whole community come together, but the Chamber of Commerce to go out of their way to support what we're doing in the parks, I just felt so proud to be part of this city.
Joanne?
To add to that, the Chamber of Commerce, because we were part of this when we used to give gifts for the music in the park, are the businesses in Sebastian who donate all those things that they do give away. And it's really good to support those businesses that are part of the Chamber because they do support the Chamber, which also makes it really nice for the community. So we always want to support them. I don't have anything on Easy Street Park, just that we've been dealing in front of the park with cars, our neighborhood there with cars slowing them down, and has nothing to do with Parks and Rec, but I'm sure with that new playground going up, it's going to be busier there with the kids. So, but we're looking forward to the playground. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Drumheller?
I don't have, my parks are fine, but Periwinkle actually is getting a lot more use. I'm happy to see as many people there using the bench and kind of walking around the little lake there. So, but everything else is going well in my three.
Mr. Morrow?
Thank you. Main Street boat ramp, fine. Yacht Club, fine, except for the boat ramp there, but that's being worked on. So maybe by the next time we have a meeting, we'll be saying, okay, it's all good. I want to touch on the pickleball courts again. Brought this up once before. We have a lot of people playing. And it took us a long time to get the 8 existing courts built. And what I would like to suggest is that we put this on the agenda for next month to have a discussion about trying to move forward to add either 4 or 8 more courts to the existing complex that we have. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take some money. We've got some statistics that we have to come up with about how many people are actually using it. But it's the park itself. It's in great shape. Everything that needs to happen happens. Nets break, they get fixed. And that's a testament to Brian and his division, and we thank you for that. So if the committee sees fit to discuss this at the next meeting as an agenda item, to decide on how we might want to go forward on trying to get 4 more courts at least.
Can you put that on the agenda, Brian?
If it is the will of this committee, then we can add it as an agenda item.
One of the questions I have is, are you suggesting putting them at the same location?
I also have a question. Is this something that the current pickleball players are talking to you about?
Yes, they are.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm always the believer. We need to hear from them, but if that's something we can start checking on, that will be okay to put on the next agenda then.
Yeah, I'd like to see it on the agenda so it's an official thing to talk about. Because moving forward, if you want to get something done and something built, it's going to take money. And it's going to have to go to the council to approve. So, you know, without our recommendation to go forward with something like that, nothing's going to happen. So it's probably, 2 years we've had these courts now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just make it clear that budgeting for this year, we're pretty much past our input for this year. We CIP projects, this would be one of those, are typically due sometime in early April, late March, early April. So we're already kind of past that. So, you know, one of the things are that it wouldn't be anything for this fiscal year. So it would be something that we'd have to be planning for a future fiscal year, if you all decided to bring it back for an agenda item.
It seems to me it takes a while anyway to figure it out. So if we started soon and
Yep.
see if the need is there
And Madam Chair, if I may, I'll speak to circumstances whenever we get to a staff update, but, I just want to be clear that it might be 2 meetings from now, and I hate to push it off, but this is going to take some work, and it's going to take some work from myself and, Antoine and staff, that I don't know that we can commit to the next meeting, but I would definitely say within the next 2 meetings, we can bring it back. I just don't want the expectation to be, well, we're going to flood the chambers for the June meeting, and, you know, we've had 4 weeks, but 4 weeks goes by really quickly with some of the changes that are getting ready to take place. So I just ask for that we could have a little bit of leeway to come back at the June or the July meeting, one of those two. And I would make it clear to you all at least a week or 2 weeks in advance whether we can make the June meeting, or if I feel like we're just better off, let's go to the July meeting and we'll have it ready by
so
July.
why don't we
It won't be
just
pushed
plan
back
on
further.
July,
Okay.
on the July meeting? Anybody opposed to that?
No, because I think that really to have a good discussion about it, one of the things that we're going to need is, and it's going to take some work from your department, is current utilization. And is there space? What's the space allocation for, like, how many could we even recommend based on space? And I know I don't play pickleball, but I know many that do. And the big thing is that they would like them in a different direction. There's some issues with sun and stuff in the
Well,
current.
yeah, early in the morning, the sun rises in the east, so
Yeah.
depending on which way you're playing, it's in your
but-
eye or it's not.
So, do we need a motion for this to go on the agenda or just a discussion?
You can just have a consensus among the board.
I think
That's
we
all
should
need.
wait till July to
think
give
July.
some time to gather pieces. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, sure.
And that also gives time for those of us up here to let pickleball folks know this would be a good time for them to come and have their say also.
July's okay with you guys?
July's fine with me.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
Is that it from you, Mr. Morrow?
Yes, ma'am, that's it.
All right, thank you. I don't really have anything, but I will say, we have these meetings every month and always nobody's here. And then I see on Facebook with people that I know complaining about the playground at Easy Street Park or this, that, or the other thing, but they never show up here. So if anybody's listening, if you want to see something, get a question answered, just come to a meeting and you can get your questions answered. That's all.
Very good point, Madam Chair.
Yeah, just come and you get your questions answered. And we don't fight. Well, most of us don't fight. All right, so upcoming events?
So, as we start to go into the summer, it slows down a little bit at Riverview Park. We've got kind of two events coming up. So we have Barb Snow's Springtime Garden Special Event, craft event that takes place down there, May 27th and 28th. Saturday will be 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Then on Monday, May 29th, at the Veterans Memorial, we will have the Memorial Day Veteran Service. That starts at 11 a.m. And once again, we invite everyone to come out for that for Monday, May 29th, Memorial Day at 11 a.m.
Why are they starting that so late?
We usually start now at 11 a.m. At the Veterans Memorial by the splash pad across the street from Riverview Park.
And you need to go to the splash pad after you do the service, because it's so hot at 11 a.m. there.
That's why I asked
On the
why it's
bricks.
so late. Is that it?
Yes,
All right.
yes, ma'am,
Wow.
sorry.
So we're on to new business.
Wait a minute, before we
Here
start,
we go, the staff
before we start
update.
new business, can we not start new business? Can we just let it go? Go ahead, Brian.
So just to give an update, as most of you are aware, I was selected by City Council to serve this wonderful city as interim city manager beginning June 9th at 5 p.m. So while I serve in this interim capacity, I'm gonna have some of my amazing staff, and you all know how great they are. You all always compliment how great the parks are and everything, and so staff does a great job. It's not me that does it. It's completely the park staff that gets everything done. Every time you all reach out to me, they're the first ones that I make a phone call to. So they are the reason that I'm here and the reason that I've been successful in my 4.5 years here at the city. So while I'm serving as interim city manager, I will have staff take on additional responsibilities to ensure that the departments that I oversee, the multiple ones, continue to maintain the level of service that is expected. So with that, I would like to introduce Mr. Antoine Van Meer to you all. Antoine is our current park supervisor for the city. Antoine was promoted to this position in 2022, and he has been a great resource for myself in my 4.5 years here. He's been a great asset to the city, and a couple of things he's kind of overseen is, as soon as I started, one of the things that was a priority to me was to improve Barber Street Sports Complex. Those fields, if you were out there back in late 2018 or 2018 at all, they needed a lot of rehabilitation, a lot of work. And Antoine at the time was maintenance worker 1 or 2 at the time, I believe. I think maintenance worker 1, actually. And one of the things, when I met him initially and spoke with him about his knowledge of turf maintenance and how to get fields playable, he was someone that I felt really confident that could get the job done. And you go out to Barber Street Sports Complex now and be hard-pressed to find anything that looks any better in the area around here. So he's done a great job with that. His knowledge throughout parks, he does a lot of electrical stuff, plumbing, irrigation, anything, building dugouts and anything that's been needed. Antoine has been able to step up and do that. He recently we're working on taking the Friendship baseball field back here behind the tennis courts and trying to rehabilitate that to something similar to what we did at Barber Street for the Little League, because they need additional fields and they were having to go to the county and pay out there. So he tackled that project head on. He started the process. It's going to take, time like anything else. It takes some time to get the turf ready. But he's been willing and able to do anything and everything I've asked of him. So I joke around and I say I voluntold him to come in here and take over as the staff liaison for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. So with that, if Antoine, you have anything to say, sir?
All right, I'm just happy to be here. Serve at your pleasure. Whatever you need, just ask. I'm willing to do anything and everything you ask of me. So feel free to approach me anytime you see me. So I'm ready and willing.
Look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You will be in good hands, and I'll make sure to get his phone number and email out to you all. That, I'm not going anywhere, I'm still gonna be here, don't feel like you can't reach out to me, by all means you can. You can reach out to me about anything that you have. It's just, I just need to take a little bit of a step away. I'm still gonna oversee the department. I'm still gonna continue my responsibilities within the departments that I oversee. I just need to give a little bit of the work back down. And so Antoine stepped up and he's gonna handle this committee for me, while I am serving as interim, over the next few months.
So,
Well, we know
Are
where
you
you'll
gonna
be on
stay
Wednesday
interim?
nights.
how long is that? How long is that?
Um,
Are you gonna try out for the,
I don't.
full-time?
With all due respect, I've been selected as interim city manager. We'll kind of see how it goes over the next few months.
Okay.
City council has that, decision to make. But, currently, I plan starting June 9th to serve as interim. And we'll see where it goes. I'm excited. It's a great city. It's a beautiful city. I love Sebastian and we'll see where it goes from there.
Well, we're proud of you,
Yeah.
and good luck. I'm sure
And
you'll
it makes
do
me
a
happy, but it makes me
fabulous job.
unhappy too. And I didn't know till tonight. Is that it?
That's it for my update. Thank you.
Okay. So any items for the next agenda? The date is June 26th.
Yeah, June
So if you have
26th.
anything, get it to Brian. Who do we get it to?
Yeah, I will send you, Antoine's email address, his phone number.
Okay.
Feel free to send it to either one of us. We'll make sure it gets on the next agenda. I'm gonna, help him all the way through the process. I wanted him to be here tonight to be introduced to you all, but I'll still be there. I'm gonna help him through, developing the agenda and everything, so at least for the first meeting, and then I think I'll just hang him out to dry a little bit, but
So that's cool, but, like for July?
I'll
you-
be here.
Okay, because if there's a bunch of people,
Yeah, so
He
July,
doesn't-
we
he doesn't need
typically
to get
also have, I'll have to check with our finance department. We always present our CIP, our capital improvement projects, in June or July. I gotta see how the schedule shakes out with the budget. It'll probably be July when that comes back as well. So July will be a big meeting. June, we'll see what other projects and what updates we have. It'll probably be a good one for Antoine to kind of come and give you an overview of projects. I don't know that we'll have new business on June, but it would be a good one to let him come and kind of introduce the projects and the updates to you all at that one.
yeah, excellent.
So.
Awesome. I guess we're gonna adjourn this meeting.